Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us at Catalyst for the Trades. We are really excited, you guys. Chuck and I haven't been together in a minute. We've had such crazy schedules that we've been bouncing around and splitting it up. It's really good having an amazing co-host that can jump in when we can't both be together, but I'm happy we're back together. I'm most excited for all of you guys to get to meet an amazing human, an amazing entrepreneur in the home services space, Raul Rodriguez, Power Pro.
Hello. Well, I appreciate that intro there. Thank you for that. You know what? I always enjoy talking to people in the trades to, always, be able to share some of those struggles, success, and you always learn something. But Jennifer, it's always a blessed talking to you. I always enjoy learning and from you and talking to you. You always looking ahead of the future, things that needs to be done, and kind of understanding from a whole different perspectives of business marketing. And I always love to hear that from you. And I'm always intrigued to know, hey, what's the next move? What do we need to do? So I'm always knowing that talking to Jennifer, I'm learning something.
I've learned that when we schedule a meeting, I cannot book anything for an hour because when Raul and his team and I get in a room, it's the day, baby.
Yeah.
I love that, Jen. And it's funny because we haven't been together in a while, and I'm so excited to be back. Hello, everybody. Welcome, Raul. I appreciate you coming on. And, it's been doing a lot of reflecting since the last time that we were on, Jen, and I challenged myself to reflect a lot more. So I'm fired up. I know we're doing a couple podcasts today. We've got Raul here now, a couple more next week. Like, we're back in full swing, and I'm super excited. Lots of fun things going on in the trades world, right? Like, you blink and it's changed. Raul, I'd love to hear a little bit more of your story, though, too. Like, tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do, that kind of stuff. I want to dive in a little bit more.
Ooh, that would be okay. So let me get from the starting point, because I think every 5 to 7 years, I have a whole story about something that I went through in life. The way I was came into the trades, came into different aspects of life. But today, let's go from a business aspect. I get into trades in 1987, and that's when I get into trades. And I think that from that beginning, for me, that I knew that trades, it was something I love it. I like it, because serving and helping people is something that fulfills you as a human being, knowing that, hey, you're helping somebody, it feels good, and now you can build a career. And to me, that was a great opportunity to start something that I enjoy. And to me, the only sad part at the beginning, I wasn't welcome. I didn't get a great welcome into the trades. And man, that was probably a bad thing that turned into a really good thing, because I learned that you have to bring people into the trades, and you have to encourage to bring people to come into the trades, and let them know, hey, that's a career path. I know in the past it was, hey, you go to school, you go to the trades. I think today that changed. Now it's say, look, this is a career. You can start as early as you want or make sense for you, but learning to serve and helping people is something you have to have a passion. You cannot just say, hey, I want to get on the trades and not understanding people, because the trade is one thing, but serving and helping, that's another aspect you have to have, or you have to want to do it. So for me, coming into the trades, that was probably a big deal. And I'll talk a little bit more about why that changed, but getting in the trades 87, that was a big deal for me. I spent, I think right away, there's something about serving and helping, but connecting with people, that goes a long way. Serving the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s to now, it's a whole different way. But, connecting with people, helping people, you still have to have that one way or another, maybe a little different. But to me, being on the trade since almost 40 years, there's a lot of different aspects that I can go over. But to me, I got on the trade in 87, and I love it, and I'm still here. Same passion, the same desire.
We might as well take just a minute to highlight that for those who are looking at a career path. I know that it's been top of mind that we should go into technology. I will also say there's millions of layoffs happening in the technology space because of automation. Or, I mean, we could pick out the number of industries that you could get into or attempt to get into that probably have a life cycle of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years before they're completely automated beginning to end. And those roles, those industries don't exist in their current form. So trades, however, like you can't kill it with COVID. You can't, it's an essential service that regardless of climate change, regardless of economy, regardless of pandemic, it doesn't matter what it is. The opportunity is so huge in the trades. And we've seen that, right? We've seen that with private equity groups coming in. And I think they finally had an aha moment and said, my goodness, this is, that's the business. This is the business, not that. This is the business that we need to get into.
Yeah.
I
heard
not underestimated anymore.
Yeah. And I heard it once. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, Shark Tank, love him, hate him. Everybody knows who he is, right? I heard in an interview that he did one time, they said, if you had to start all over again, what would you do? He goes, forget everything else. I'd be a plumber.
Oh, wow.
He goes, that's where the money's at. And that you're talking, multi-millionaire, right? And I too believe that too, Raul. I'm a huge advocate for the trades. I didn't come from much, right? And I chose it as my career.
Your total addressable market is everybody who has to use the can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and if you think about this, like 2008, everybody, talks about 2008, right? I didn't even know anything was going on. I just got up every day, did my job. I didn't know all these things going on. Now, since 2008, I had a business, so I paid more attention to things that were going on. But it didn't disrupt my life. I moved across the country. I skied like 80 days a year. Like I bought my first house like during 2008 and everything that was going on. My bank account was going up. Like I didn't know that it was really affecting the way it was in other industries, right? And I had been in the trades for 15 years at that time, so it is, I look back at all my friends too, Raul, and you probably have this too. It's like they all had college debt, still looking for a job 4 years after college, right? Like, and when you talk massive layoffs, they were a part of that. I never had a problem. Raul, if you decided tomorrow you didn't want to be an owner anymore, you could probably go out and get 15 jobs and people would be fighting for you to come work. Like it's a phenomenal career if anybody's thinking about getting into it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The connection to serving, helping people, it goes beyond trades. I think the trade is something people need and wants. And I think having that communication aspect, it goes a long way. I noticed, let me go a little bit back on the 80s. On the 80s, and they always say they're always looking to find a plumber, a mechanic, and a lawyer that they can trust.
Yeah.
You believe it or not, that is true. So think about it, right? That got stuck in my mind, and I didn't understand why, but obviously some people have different perspectives on certain things. But to me, that was on the 80s, salesmen, it was you talk, and you talk, and you talk, and you talk. So talk your way in, talk your way out. And I was like, wow, okay, I don't know if I could do all that. But I did add the element of connecting with people first, serving people right out there, and then have a good communication. And that to me was slightly different, that I don't want to just talk. I want to serve. I want to help. I want to connect. I want to relate. That was the difference, me thinking, I just don't want to say all this, get that. So to me, relating and understanding and connecting with people, that was probably the difference. Me being, I was like an old soul, or maybe different approach, different ways that I view. But the 80s, that was me the difference, connecting with people, serving people, and care to do certain way the right thing. That to me was the difference. I think the 90s, it got exploded. The trades, if you look at on the 90s, everybody has some type of success. Everything opened up for different type of business, different type of careers, different. So everybody had a job. Like you, oh no, I want to go here. So you pick, and there was a lot of opportunity on the 90s to go different directions. 2000 comes in, the 2000s come a little bit, and people got a little spoiled to understand, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to do this. Now you got a little bit entitlement, a little bit of, I just don't need to work as hard. Maybe I just want to make more money. I just want to do that. So the money got in front of it. And okay, I was like, okay, so listen to this. 2008, you say it was difficult. Our company, the biggest growth we had as a company, it was in 2008.
Awesome.
And let me tell you, the story there was like this. We used to tell, you know what, you can come to the trades here. We help you train. You're going to do this and this and that. And they say, why did I need to do all that for? I could just go here to make money. And I say, okay, that's different. So that was early 2000s. And then 2008 comes in and we grow. That's why we got so many reviews, because we got reviews very, very, remember, reviews can hurt you, can help you. You just know which side you want to be in, right? So that's what I say. Well, 2008 comes in and things got a little difficult for a lot of people in our companies. And that's when they say, well, I like that you guys have a process. You can trade, you help. They say, oh, yeah, we can do that. But also as a company, we grow. And that was the biggest growth that we have as a company, knowing that we still care to do certain things, certain way, the right way. And that was an extension they got through those years. But also that's how we grow. People wanted to work for Power Pro. Some people want to work for me personally too, because being on the trades, everybody somehow knows Raul or Power Pro. So I think that was a big thing in there. But yeah, absolutely, the different decades, different approach. But today I'll talk in a minute. But what's your perspective from that, Chuck, from you?
Yeah, I said it a while ago, probably 10 podcasts back. This is the greatest time for trades to be hiring. Right? Just like 2008, it was a great time to be hiring. Everybody's laying off. We're hiring, so, and people want that. They want a secure career, right? A lot of these tech guys, and tech's been huge, and even real estate guys, they're like, I've had them come and say, well, hey, what do you think? Like, my job is in jeopardy, possibly, right? What do you think about going into a trade, right? And I'm like, well, what do you like, And I think back, like, Raul, you're right. Serving people, the money came, right? But it was serving people. And me and my partner, we had fun. We had a lot of fun, and it was going in and, like, you talk that trust factor. Like, you're in someone's house. I mean, yeah, you need a lawyer that you trust. You need an auto mechanic you trust. But, I think a doctor that's dealing with your body and a service person that comes into your house, like, those are the two most, like, important people out there that serve, that you have to trust, because they're so personal, right? One's your body, one's your personal space. And it's, I had an amazing time, because I always treated people's houses better than my own, right? And, and I trained that to my people as well. But I got to be in different homes that, I wouldn't have seen had I, besides being on TV, right? Like, and it inspired me to want certain things for myself too, right? Like, so when I have things at my house, like, I put the things that I've seen in other people's houses that I like, but I add my flair to it too, right? So it really is a great, great career. And the fact of the matter is like, there was nothing better, Raul. The business side of it, I didn't like that as much as going out and serving the client every single day. It really, like, I never felt like I had to sell anything. I just went and had fun and had great conversations, and then noticed things and told people, like, hey, look, while we're here, we can take care of this, but I want to make you aware of it. And I think that's where a lot of the trade industry is going today, Raul, right? Because you have PE, and they're very numbers driven, very process driven, all that stuff, right? But they take that human element out of it, per se. And it's like always about putting up numbers. Stop that. Stop. Yeah. Go serve the client. The numbers are going to follow. And I think that's one of the biggest missing pieces right now, across the board. The mom and pops right now, in the private owned companies, have they can beat up these private equity companies so easily just by doing the right thing, because people are going to trust them more because yes, your numbers and data driven, but if you don't solely focus on that and your core values and your vision is not around that, you're going to go way past those guys.
Absolutely. Jennifer, what's your perspective on today's versus maybe 10 years, 15 years?
I mean, I'm obviously going to nerd out if we head this direction, but for me, my view of today, the opportunity of today is because of technology advancements, there are two major pieces to this. One, we have AI search that is consumers are adopting, which now you have an entirely new path, a brand new way to get in front of consumers, that it doesn't matter how much money you're putting down on a paid ad. It doesn't matter how big you are. That doesn't matter. It's who's first. And we haven't had this opportunity in my lifetime anyway. We haven't had this opportunity. It's always been like, if you're late to the game, no one's going to slow down so you can catch up. And all of a sudden, there's this new opportunity to get in front of consumers that are utilizing a new technology. So that's one piece that is, I'm so excited about. The second piece is that same technology, if used appropriately, if you look at a home service company like you would analyzing the supply chain of any business from soup to nuts, beginning to end, and you find every piece of the business you can optimize with AI, we can now free up people to do exactly what you guys are talking about. Spend time with people, right? If we can get rid of all of the manual tasks, redundancies, duplicate processes, gaps, and efficiencies, all of that, by utilizing technology that is not expensive, doesn't take a long time to deploy, and you can free everybody up from that mundane tasks, like our ability to be able to spend time like this. That's why I'm able to do this now. Chuck and I talked about this a year and a half ago. Raul, you and I sat in your office. We recorded a podcast and I was like, there's no way I could get there. My time is so filled with stuff. There's no way I could launch a podcast. But you know what? I've automated so much in my own business. I'm bothering our team because I have time.
Well, that's a good thing, because now you can do more. There's some times where you can buy time or build time or be able to do more with time. And this today, that's what you're talking about. Be able to utilize technology to be able to do more or save time or I think that part is still a really, really early to understand how we can use it, because automation is here to stay. Technology is going to change everybody's way of doing business. And I think there's so much different ways, different things. And that's where a little chaos, like which one is the one? I think that's going to be the challenge, to select what makes sense, how I do it. That's going to be the challenge.
Yeah. I got one for you right now. Let me ask you guys a question real quick. So both of you guys were talking about recruiting. The technology that's now available to a brand new Comfort Advisor is wild. It's amazing. I've seen, Darren Dixon, we had him on the podcast. His son worked at a gym, top sales guy at a gym, like buff guy, workout, gym guy. Got into HVAC. Darren trained him for 14 days, handed him this app and said, go sell. He's in his 20s and he's outperforming from a sales perspective all the old dogs in the company, because he's personable, he's chit chatty, and he's got this tool that helps walk him through the process. The Genius Bar guy is now selling HVAC and he's making more money than he ever did as a general manager of one of the top gyms in Florida. Like, what are you looking for people now? Because does this open up different opportunities for who you look to hire?
Look, green guys are amazing because they don't have the bad habits and they don't talk themselves out of things. They just go in and have conversations. They're real and raw. They don't oversell it. That's where I see a lot of salesmen going wrong is they oversell it. They start talking about the efficiencies and all these crazy things that the consumer doesn't even understand. This guy's so green. He's, he has a little bit of a knowledge base, and he's got exactly. He's just going in and having great conversations. But I want to back up a little bit on the technology side because I think this is really important. And I'm starting to see this over and over and over. I have a lot of conversations with business owners, probably 20 to 50 a week. I'm meeting with business owners. Technology is great. Here's the thing. We're going into almost halfway through the year. You should be evaluating your business. You should be evaluating your employees. You should be evaluating where your numbers are, where your budget's at. You should be, taking surveys with your employees, but also take a look at what you're using, right? If you're using ServiceTitan, and ServiceTitan has a score on it that says you're using 20% of ServiceTitan or 80% of ServiceTitan. If you're under 50%, you need to figure out how do you improve that? Because a lot of people are putting technology in and just thinking that it's going to fix their business, but they're only using a fraction of that technology, right? And they don't know where to use it to get the ROI. They're just saying, oh, that $30 million a year company put it in, so I'll put it in, it'll fix something. That's where technology is going to hurt businesses. And automation is going to hurt businesses. If you automate something that's not good, it's going to make it worse. If you automate something and collect the data and improve it, the automation will help improve it. And I see this time and time and time again where, people are trying to grab onto these things and throw it into their business with really no clue how to do it to get an ROI. You got to remember, it all comes down to that ROI. If you can't capture an ROI with it almost within 2 weeks to a month, maybe now's not the time to put that in place. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, I would say sometimes. Here's the thing, 100% of nothing is nothing. So if you're not answering your calls after 5 p.m. and on weekends, put the automation in right now. Because if it does a small percent better than nothing, you win. Like there's so many like quick wins you can get really quick. It's a big one.
But the ones that they don't understand that they're putting into place and they're not utilizing, like ServiceTitan is a perfect example. If you look at your ServiceTitan score and you're only using 20%, you're literally throwing money out the window. So you need to figure out where that is. Now, I'm not saying an HVAC company go to school for ServiceTitan in June when it's 90 degrees out. No, put that on your list for third quarter, right? Go make some money right now. Do whatever it takes and do the small little tweaks that are going to help you improve to make money during the busy season. But put it on your radar when it starts to slow down or when you can breathe again. These are the things that I need to improve.
So I'm using, so before we go into owner perspective, let me stay on the tech and then we move to an owner. So for us on the tech side, our technicians, we have a full training process, a full trainer, and technicians love they have an opportunity to invest on that growth. But we set expectations. This is who we are. This is what we do. This is why we do it. And I want to make sure that makes sense to be part of that. And we start letting know that we're definitely, this new generation, they're such a quick learners. They learn so fast. That is a bonus. And we have to understand that. But also, their time and our time is in a whole different line. They're not on alignment. So we need to talk about a time. Hey, what is that you're looking in a year or two? And that has to be, it has to have that conversation because for them, time is a number one. A day off is probably more important than a couple $100. Hey, if I can build a career on certain time that makes sense, I'm okay with that. So for them, time, it needs to be addressed. It needs to be part of that conversation. And then as long as you have a clear expectation, hey, being a technician, this is the expectations. This is, I used to tell people, well, you can make this much money. And I'll never talk about money because that's probably one thing that I don't really like to talk about so much. But we told them, hey, if you do this, you make this much. Okay. And then they always remember that I tell them, you make this much. They don't remember that you had to do all that stuff, right? So I'm like, whoa, okay, how does that work? So now we go back and say, this is who we are, this is what we do, and then after we have that established that conversation, we ask him, what is that you're looking, and how much are you looking to make? And say, oh, this, oh, great. For you to do that, you have to make all this, you have to do all this. So now it's their idea instead of our idea. And that's a way of communicating, but they love it. For us, be able to train somebody to be a technician, a sales technician, be able to sell your own products. As I know there's a sales, and that for us, we're teaching how to communicate and serve people. And some people have the ability to do all the way. Some people still gonna create opportunities. We got both ways. And for us, they love that you can go two different directions. And we're not asking you to do something you're not comfortable, don't want to do it. For us, is what is that you're looking for, and this is things you have to do it. That goes a long way. However, I'm not sure this sounds good or bad. They say when you're on real estate, you say, well, it's a buyer, so it's a seller's market. Right now, on the trade, it's a company's market. It's basically companies can choose who they want to hire, how they want to hire, and what kind of service they got to do. And that part, I'm not saying is good or bad. I think it becomes good for everybody along in the long way. When you have good intentions to do something right, that is good for technicians. That is good for business. So, but if a technician wants to shortcut, that might not be good for them. But also, that might be a good thing to realize. Hey, so I love that when the private money came into the trades, they brought a lot of attention. They brought a lot of attention into the trades, which is good. I think the part that we need to really maybe understand is you still have to serve and help people. It's not focused on the money and not understanding serving and helping. That's what I think is misleading a little bit. Hey, you can come into the trades and make all this money, make this money. And I really think that's misleading in a way that, it might make the money, but you still have to work. You still have to serve. You still have to put the time. And that to me is what really hurting the industry. If you're going to talk about the trades, let's understand in service and helping people. I'm not saying first, but very quickly, or be as much as the trade. Learn the trade, but learn and understanding that you still have to work.
Are you sure you don't just put a picture on Facebook of you walking out of a jet?
Oh, no. Well, because that's what's misleading. That they thinking you get on the trace and everything is going to be easy and make money, and that's misleading. Right. And I don't like that. That to me.
Well, Raul, anybody can learn it. They just YouTube how to install a water heater.
Yeah.
Just kidding. It's not that easy. You're 100% correct. But it's to the point now where towards the end, before I sold, I started to hire for personality, right? Where it was in the beginning, I was, oh, you got 10 years experience, I'll hire you. It changed for me. I started to hire for personality and being able, like you said, these guys learn very fast because throughout the day, they're going and doing a couple jobs, but then they're going home and watching it on YouTube and looking at it in a different angle. So they're learning a lot faster. But by hiring for personality, right, and training them, it made me think like, okay, how do I do this faster, right? And my next step that I was looking at, I was going to build an academy. And I wanted to bring green people in and put them through 30 days at a desk style or like hands-on in a classroom style, right? Give them the basics and then have them go out into a truck, right? So they had a full understanding, but that would allow me to hire for that personality of someone that could understand, like the money is only that much of it, right? Customer service is the big portion. You're 100% correct. And like, you know, I don't want to say you could teach anybody to do the trades. They got to know how to turn a wrench and all that stuff. But you know, you can. I mean, the tools are easier. Raul, the ProPress, PEX. I mean, I remember soldering, you know, full copper in houses, right? Like actually installing copper in the entire house. It is a lot easier. Technology and the tools have made it easier. And I think that's noted too, right? Like, look, not everybody could solder a pipe together, but I guarantee I could take Jen right now, and no offense, Jen, but in 5 minutes, I could teach you how to pro press a fitting together. Where years ago, that would take months.
I'm the one that ripped the paint off the wall because my guy told me I needed to change the filters and I couldn't unscrew the thing. And I jammed this big old filter into it, burned up my air conditioning system because I guess it's a return or something's supposed to come out. It's not. Anyway, I'm a normal homeowner. I love having someone like y'all. My guy has a key code. We're about to leave. I get to go home tomorrow to Seattle. Finally.
Nice.
But he has a key code and I have everything on monitored systems. And he just sends me a text and says, something's going on upstairs. We're on our way over. I don't think about it. I'm like, hey, there's extra soda in the fridge. There's beer in the garage. Grab what you need. I don't need to be here. I love my guys so much. I have a group here. Fantastic. They are fantastic.
So let's go from a business and owner that I want to share that. So, but anyways, from a tech perspective, I always make sure you understand that it's a great trade. It pays well enough to be okay, which is a career. But also, as long as you understanding, you still have to put the time and be able to connect and relate with people and serve people. And to be honest, it should be a enjoyable job, not a challenging job. You just have to understand it. And I think that's what I really encourage people. You get on the trades, it is good. It is a good time. It is really a quick way to build a career. But hey, come with the intentions to do the things in a professional, ethical way. Put the time, build that confidence you need. Let the ego out of the way and be a little more humble to understand what it takes to serve and helping. And I think products, information, service, have the confidence you need, but make sure you don't have an ego on the way. And that goes for anybody along the way. I think one of the things that kind of, to me, that helped me a lot is I'm the person that I still connect to a helper, to a technician, to a salesman, to a manager, to an owner, and that have the ability to, or the humble, of the genuine, communicate with anybody. That goes a long way. And to me, that's probably made it easy for me personally that I can talk to anybody. If people come into the company, they don't think I'm the president. They think I'm just a guy that is just walking around. And I love that part because I'm okay with that. I work for Power Pro the same as everybody else, despite that I'm the founder. That to me is we do whatever it takes mentality. It doesn't mean you do everything. I'm just saying you shut down the mentality. But do whatever it takes. Communicate with people, and if you even sometimes, hey, can you help me? I'll get you the person that can help you. You don't always have to do things. You just have to connect people to other people. But that to me is be able to do that. But let's go into a business perspective.
Yeah,
and, I love that part today. So for us, obviously, as a company, having after 25 years with 28,000 positive reviews, 4.8. That tells the story. That to me, I don't know how many service plumbing companies can say that. So to me, we're really proud and we highlight that because we earned that. We earned that.
Absolutely.
25 years, 28,000 positive reviews, 4.8. You don't get that unless you're doing something that you have a passion or you're doing it right. And to me, we're really proud of that. So in serving, that probably as a company, it made it easy for us growing, but it got on the way too later. And I'll go in a minute why. Because when you're helping, when you're serving, things are good because you're making a difference. So me as an owner, I think I had to understand process better, more consistency, training process, be able to be more clear on that. That's what I think I hit a wall to an extent that just because it's working, just because you're doing certain things, that means everything is fine. No, you still have to understand that there's people, there's process, there's training, there is accountability, there is consistency, and you're not going to do that just with service. You have to create a whole different aspect of business. So that's why I tell people, as an owner, you have to understand the trade. And I think that's going to be the easy one for most people.
Mm.
And then there's the people. Woo. People.
Oh.
You have to work with people. You have to understand people. You have to manage people. You have to inspire people. And that's where I think is it could go from a management to mentor to leadership. And listen, you can't help somebody or you can't improve somebody if you don't improve yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say, Raul, congratulations. That's a
It's
feat. You know,
amazing.
that's a lot of reviews. 4.8, amazing stuff, right? But that's a direct reflection of your leadership. I tell people that all the time. Reviews are a direct reflection of the leader. If you have crappy reviews, you probably got a crappy leader, honestly. And it's a direct reflection of you seeing the problems, putting things in place and fixing them, building up your people, hiring the right people, putting them in the right positions, interviewing correctly, you know, and obviously taking care of people. Like you got to have that all alongside of it, right? The customer service still has to be there or they won't leave the reviews either. But for your guys to even ask for a review, you have to be a great leader, because a lot of trades guys, they don't want to ask for that stuff. They want to go in and just fix the problem. They don't want to worry about the review and all that stuff later on. So reviews are direct, in my opinion, a direct reflection of leadership of a company. If you see a company that has strong reviews, great chance that they have a fantastic leadership team.
It's also why he can cherry pick anybody he wants. The reason why you feel that it's a buyer's market, company market, and you should, because you have systemically, some by fire, some through time and lessons, right? But you've systemically built an amazing organization at every level, even the people that you surround yourself with. You've done an extremely good job about surrounding yourself with an additional extension of a leadership team who supports you and believes in you and will follow you to the moon and back. I see it every time I sit down there. And you've also been ahead of the game when it comes to risk. You're not afraid to change. When we sit down and we say, okay, technology's changed. This is what we need to do. You're the first person to not debate why not. You sit down at the table and you're like, all right, tell me more. You start asking questions and diving in. You're always inquisitive. This is why, from your vantage point, because I still have plenty of clients and people I talk to every day that say it's impossible to hire because they didn't design a business that's a magnet. This is
100%.
Like if you were to explain those pieces, I mean, I know it's a lot, but you don't leave anything, you don't leave anything to chance. You are hyper focused on the highest leveraged activities you need to. If you had to list off the ones that are most important, what would they be?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One thing that I always feel, going back to recruiting and reviews a little bit, keep in mind the employees or the team members are your customers.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it, right? So first thing is, the first customer as a company, it is your employee. So you have to really understand that, what it means, the way you go about helping, training. But think about it. You have to have expectations. You have to have accountability. And some people
100%.
think accountability is just, I call here, there's steps to accountability. Everybody thinks, I'm just going to tell you what it is. Last minute, this is what we're doing. And they think that's accountability. No, that's a decision. Accountability starts early. Like, what is it you want to do? Who are you? What's your expectations? What's the training? What's the checkpoints? What is the progress? All that is accountability, and it has a process between that you have to have. And everybody wants to say, oh, I'm just going to make the decision and think that's accountability. Say, absolutely not. I mean, I don't mind having a conversation. They might be a little tough, not because I like it. It's because I want progress. I want resolutions. I want to move forward. I don't want to figure out what's causing the problem. I want to figure out how we find the solution.
And your
along the way.
people, your people want the accountability, because accountability to them means security.
Absolutely.
That's one thing that I learned a long time ago, right? Where like, you know, why would you come to a company that's so strict? No, that's not it. The accountability factor is you're going to be here tomorrow, right? Like accountability equals security to people, and your people right now, they want more accountability. They want a direction. If they didn't, they'd be working for themselves.
I think that the sensor, and I mean, this is a sensitive subject. I don't want to go too deep on this. I do think that there's a way people start say, well, like if I go 5 years back, I think everybody got a little more, the way we communicate was a bigger difference. Oh, I want to be communicate this way and that way. And I understood that. So I think it had to be an adjustment to us that come from an old school to new school. How do we communicate? And I'm making a little adjustment. Maybe it used to be at the level of a 10. We had to narrow down to probably 2 or 3. And now, you want to hear something interesting? They want us to crack it up a little back to 5. To mean, hey, the way we communicate, because they know at the end of the day, having expectations, having accountability, somebody needs to make decisions, and somebody needs to say, this is how you do, this is how you win, this is how you achieve. And they want that. Like you say, they want that. And I think that maybe they don't want the old school thinking, because I don't think that's healthy. But having a little bit of that, 20, 30% of that firm belief of this is the best way, I think they want that. And I think that's the part that I was happy to see they asked me, Raul, can we get you a little bit of the whole of you, but not the whole thing, just a little bit? And I said, yeah, I can adjust that.
I love
Raul, you probably learned from a grumpy old plumber that threw things at you just like I did, right? It's like, so you can't be that guy, but there's something about, like you said, taking it up a notch, because people with the accountability side, they also feel that you're real and raw. When you're candy coating and sugar coating everything, you're not real. You're not saying what needs to be said, right? And I think people are now finally understanding that, right? Like, yeah, you can't go to a 10, but maybe it's at a 5. Oh, this guy's for real. Yeah. And that's what I'm seeing too. I love that.
They say you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be genuine. And I don't know what that means, because that could go different ways. But I do think being genuine means you care to help, you care to do certain things, certain way, the right way. That's what I mean. As long as we maybe have to bring that early, say, this is what we're trying to achieve, and let's do this. I think it's just communicating differently is definitely a way of communication. But that could be so when I say the second part is people, I do think the first thing is you have to get out of the way as a person, as a business, not to get out of the way, to understand, okay, what's best for the company, what's best for the business, what is best thing that we have to do, but also in that process is, what did I need to improve? What did I need to do or change? And that's when you say get out of the own way, it means, what do you need to improve and do better? So that way you are changing. And if you understand that as a leader, you're going to impact, because the change starts with you.
Yeah.
And then from there,
accountability and ownership.
I love it, man. I know we're running out of time, but I just met you, and there's a few things that you said early on. You loved getting on with Jen because you're learning, right? And I want to, point out something to everybody. Your humility, the reason you're so successful is because you are humble, and that being that humble allows you the opportunities to learn. That is a key, and one of my keys too, right? Because humility for me, I have to have it every single day. I don't know everything, and I love to get in rooms. Every time I meet with Jen, I'm the same way, right? I'm like, oh, someone smarter than me, let's go, let's do this, right? And you said that earlier on in the podcast, so I want to commend you, my friend. It was great to meet you. I'll share my contact info with you. If you ever need anything, please reach out to me.
Yeah.
Jen, thanks for setting this up.
Yeah. And I got 1 minute, Jen, because I want to finish the 3 aspects here. Is the trade, it is the people, and then is the business.
Mm-hmm.
And the business is numbers. And there's no feelings there. This is
Right.
a business, it's numbers. If to build a company of being, and there you have to understand the trade, you have to understand the people of managing and leader and the business. And they're totally different. Listen, it's hard to be all three. Just be good at one and a half or two and find somebody that can help you on the other one. And
it's hard to remove those emotions when you start talking the numbers. I'm definitely at fault for that. When I lose money, I'm not a happy camper.
Yeah. Anyways, Jennifer, any questions you have for us, for me? And
I do want to say congratulations. You just launched one of the most advanced technology platforms. You just launched an AI-enabled website with your entire new brand. Congratulations. I know those processes aren't easy, but wow. Love it.
So that thing, obviously, probably one of the things that I'm very methodical, very patterns learning. So to me, every time somebody talks to me, they open something and then later they're trying to like, whoa, hold on. You're going too far ahead. And I think that one of the things that with me and Jennifer, when we're building this this new website, I told her, look, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking to be able to book online. I don't want people to always have to call. How do we make it that you can go online and book a service like no different than going to a dentist or a doctor or anywhere? And for us, it was important that we have a way to serving people in a way that they want to communicate.
Adapt and overcome. I love it.
Yeah, so that'll be able to launch a new way of booking services and an artificial intelligence of a website that is going to be definitely in a convenience, practical, technology advance. Looking out that hopefully this can be good for the next few years. I'm excited. We got a new branding of what the trucks and all that. I hope you see some of the videos. I like it a lot. I didn't think I was going to change a lot, but we did. But I'm super excited for this year. Looking forward for this new way of doing business. Understanding that it is different. It's different ways. It is a lot to adapt and change quickly, but there's so much to understand. What are you gonna do? Just be smart and surround yourself with people who can give you the right, maybe how do you gotta use artificial intelligence, what technology look like, but you can save time. You can be able to do more. How are you going to do it? It'll be the question. And who are you going to do with it?
Yeah. You've been the perfect client. I couldn't ask for a better customer and friend and colleague. This guy, we can go into his office and we'll spout out 500 things that he should be doing. Next thing you know, he's building a podcast room. He's got a gorgeous podcast room with all the soundproofing on the walls. He's launching podcasts. It's, the number of companies that we talk to when we sit down and say, you need to start generating content. We need user generated content. He starts doing it. When we say you need to start producing podcasts, he starts doing it. It doesn't matter. I can just plant it and he runs, he goes. Yep. He doesn't debate. He doesn't argue. Who we got in? Come on, baby.
So, well, I'll tell you what, let's give credit to Ricky. Ricky's helping us with all this. I need help because I'm an old school. So be able to build content, set some things. And now we be able to have a person that is full dedicated to build content. And that makes it easy for us. So thank you, Ricky. So that will be there.
Ricky, can we have you guys both on a podcast talking about your journey to creating content?
Yeah, Chuck, I definitely want to learn more from you and understand a little bit more about you. I think, what area are you in?
I'm in Salt Lake City.
Oh, okay. Yep. I go there a lot.
Yep. Oh. So anytime you come and meet with the other guys, you know who I'm talking about. Come meet with me too. But no, I was just gonna say, Jen, let's have Raul back for another podcast because you nailed it, right? Like I've been in a lot of different masterminds and groups and trainings and the Next Star, AirServe, all that stuff. And the people that are super successful aren't just speed to lead, but they're speed to apply the knowledge that they get, right? And, I love this statement that I say all the time is I know a lot of people are really smart people that have read thousands and thousands of books, but they're still really broke. The key is they haven't figured out how to apply that knowledge. And Raul, I commend you, my friend, because you're going to be super successful even more than you already have keep doing that. Love
Oh,
it.
oh, thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Jennifer. It was a pleasure being here. I'm still green on this podcast. I'm barely opened a little bit myself to say let's figure it out, and I'm trying
Love
to
it.
enjoy it now. So you see that I'm enjoying it. It's fact, maybe I'm not as good at, but I be like say be genuine. They don't have to be perfect, but I'm always speak from the heart, speak from what my experience, and I'm always is to learn something or teach somebody. To me, I'm here for that.
Love it.
Dude, keep making progress. Progress over perfection.
All right.
Execution wins, right? You guys, thank you so much, Raul. We love you. Chuck, I'm so happy to have you back on the show with me. And for everybody that took time out of their busy schedule to watch live, or if you're watching later on Spotify
Well,
or YouTube, whatever. Yes, sir. Shoot.
Jennifer,
Yes.
I'm super happy with having you guys as a part of our marketing. You've done an amazing job for Power Pro. You know, we love you. You know, you care for your team, you care for us, and you care for anybody who wants to be part of your team. Jennifer, you guys have an unbelievable team. You know, if anybody needs a reference, call me. I'll tell you how good are they doing it. You build a team that it will help somebody else understanding marketing. So congratulations on that too. And thank you.
I'm sending you lunch. Look at that, baby. Oh my gosh. Okay, now I'm all blushy and everything. So, all right, with that, Chris is telling us we need to wrap up. Again, thanks everyone. Share, like, comment. We'll see you on the next show. Raul, we're going to have you back. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
See you guys.